Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to Tony the Technician's channel. And today we are starting Season 2 of Tool Talk. Season 2. I hit 50 episodes on my previous Tool Talk, so I figured I'd start over. I had a few people request that I kind of go a little bit more in depth on this drum brake service set from Matco. It's a great set, and even though drum brakes are phasing out, it's still a good thing to know how to do drum brakes, disassemble, reassemble, new shoes, all that good stuff. Because a lot of the lower end models through some manufacturers still use drum brakes on the rear. So it's always good to understand how to work on them, especially for anybody that is a do-it-yourselfer, or if you're just getting into this field. Most likely when you start out, you're going to be changing oil, coolant flushes, tire rotations, and brake jobs. So it's always good to know how to use these tools. You can use normal tools to get by with the drum brake job, but these items do make it a lot easier. So I'm going to go through all of these and kind of describe what they are. But before we get started, I want to give a shout out to my brother Sean. He is one of them that runs the UndergroundVaperz channel. He guessed what the picture was that I posted yesterday of this set. A couple other people guessed it too, but they were after him, and I don't know if they looked at his comment or not. So if you haven't checked out the UndergroundVaperz, go ahead and check out his channel. He runs it with our friend Alex. It's a great channel. They go over all kinds of vape stuff. So if you're into vaping or thinking about getting into vaping, go ahead and check it out. It'll be very informative. So getting into this set runs $150 without discount through Matco. The part number is Bravo Tango Sierra Golf 10. So $150 without discount, and I think it's about $80 or $90 with the discount if you get the student discount or promo or anything like that. Obviously other companies make very similar sets. Gear Wrench makes a set, Astro Pneumatic makes a set. A lot of different companies make these drum brake tools, but besides that, they can be found for cheaper out there. But if you can't afford that, still you can buy these tools individually and possibly save yourself some money, especially if you don't need all of these tools. If you work on a lot of one manufacturer's vehicles and their drum brakes are all the same, then you probably won't need all of these and you can save yourself some money. But each piece usually runs in between $10 and $20 per item. But as you can tell, all of these handles have Matco on them. They are orange and black. They are rubberized, but they almost feel plastic. They are good, comfortable handles. You know, you're not going to be using these a whole lot unless you mainly just do brakes. But to start out, this is a 10-piece set. The first thing I want to go over is your brake depth gauge or your brake gauge tools. It has 3 greens, 3 yellows, and 2 reds. Basically, this is used for drums and discs, but it's more accurate for you know, regular disc brake pads. So the green, your pads are good to go. The yellow, you would recommend to the customer that they're getting worn down and soon they will need to be replaced. And the red is, you definitely need to recommend new brakes. When going from the front brakes, say you're in the green, but you go to the back and say you hit this yellow one on the brake pad, on the back it's technically still green because rear brake pads are just smaller in general because you don't use your back brakes as much as your front brakes. So you get this nice little set. I'm not sure if there's a part number on here. Just this little gauge set is Bravo Golf 842. It does come in this nice little blow molded case you can keep it in, or you can take everything out and throw it in your box. The next thing is basically just a bunch of spoons, different sizes and shapes, but they're all for the same thing. You go in from the rear of the drum brake assembly and you'll have this little rubber dust boot you can take off, and inside is going to be a little star wheel that basically adjusts how far out or how close your brake shoes are to your actual drum. And you can get in there and pry up or down to adjust it. You might have to adjust it one way to get the drum actually off, or once you get the new shoes on, you might have to adjust it so they sit not snugly, but pretty close to the drum itself. So you just have a whole bunch of spoons. They each have their own part number. If you want to know the part numbers, please leave a comment down below and I will go over the part numbers for these. But then next up, you have these two items. One is larger, one is smaller, and they're basically just a cup on the end of these handles, and on the drum brakes you're going to have some hold down springs, and they're going to have this cap over them with a, I don't know what you would call it. It's basically this pin that goes through the back of the drum assembly, and this cap basically holds the springs, and it holds your shoes to the back of your drum. Well, you're going to have two common sizes, so they provide you with both sizes, and basically you just push this over that top cap, you push the spring in, and you twist it, and it releases the shoes. They're obviously not going to come off because you're going to have more springs holding them in. Some drum brakes do have a lot of springs in them, and some are very simple. But that's what those are used for. This is a spring removal tool by itself. I'll get to the other one here in a second, but a lot of the time you're going to have a spring that's hooked at the end, and it's going to go over a shaft on the backing plate, and basically this slips over that shaft. You get this little end underneath the end of the spring where it hooks around. You push it on there and you twist it, and the spring will come off. So this is really handy, especially since it's by itself. These are drum brake pliers. And yes, it has the same thing as this individual tool right here, but sometimes it can be a pain using this entire thing to get it off, so I like to use this by itself. 1 second. Alright, so with the pliers, these ends here are used for removing springs also, the ones that aren't on a shaft. Basically you hook this around your shoe, on the outside of your shoe, and this goes in the end of the spring, and basically when you clamp them together it pulls that spring and you can pull it out of where it's locked into. So they're handy on certain drum brakes. And then here you have that same thing that removes the other style of springs, and then you have this individual tool, which it basically has a cut right here in the end of this shaft. You won't be able to see it, but there's a little cut here indented in here, and basically what you're going to do is you're going to hook your spring around here, so then you set this in the drum brake over the shaft that the spring's got to go on, and you rotate it and it drops the spring onto the shaft. And then these pliers also have that feature as well. It's a little bit bigger. This sits, I don't know what that was. This sits on the shaft where the spring is going to go, and you just put your spring on here, you kind of tilt it in and rotate it, and the spring goes right on. So it's a really, really handy set to have for doing drum brakes, and if you guys want to see me disassemble and reassemble a drum brake system, I will consider doing it on my Camaro, just so I can get a good look at them, because I haven't looked at them in probably a year. Not that the car's been driven, but it'll be nice to look at them again anyways. So, like I stated, this set runs around $150 by itself. You can get identical sets, or almost identical sets, for under $100 if it's not Matco. And then you can get the individual pieces for $10 to $20 each. So you can check it out at AutoZone, O'Reilly's. They have drum brake tools as well. They all work great. If you're an older gentleman or woman, yes, they did used to just use pliers, screwdrivers, and stuff like that, and it does work. But this set does tend to make the job a little bit easier, because if you're first starting out and you haven't really done drum brakes before, I would suggest taking pictures of the drum brake, or at least disassembling both sides and leaving one side assembled so you can look at it for reference when taking it apart and reassembling it. It'll make the job a lot easier, and then obviously after you've done it quite a few times, you're going to be able to do it just like that. The reason they got away from drum brakes is, well, for one, them not being as efficient as disc brakes, but there's a lot more parts and a lot more chance for failure and stuff like that. So that's why they're switching to disc brakes. It does take more pressure for disc brakes to work, but they dissipate heat a lot better as well. So just keep that in mind, but I'm sure if you're in this field or getting into this field, you're still going to come across some drum brakes. But that's all the tools in this set, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I don't know if I'll link this down in the description. Maybe I'll link a different brand down in the description just because this one's Matco. If you want this set, go ahead and check it out on matcotools.com, or I'll link a couple sets that are almost identical to this from Amazon for a little bit cheaper price. So go ahead and check that out, as well as a lot of other tools that I suggest. Everything's down in the description for you guys to check out. But other than that, I got a lot of packages in today, and over the next few days I will be going over the items that I purchased this month, and I really hope you guys enjoyed. So if you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and as always, subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Thank you guys.